Hey there gamers, welcome back to our channel. I am Little, and today we've got something truly epic in store for you. Today we're talking about Remnant 2. Remnant from the Ashes was notable for random elements in its world layout, with certain NPCs, items, and so on appearing in subsequent playthroughs. However, Remnant 2 is going much further, this time randomizing entire biomes to present different enemies, bosses, and stories with each playthrough. For example, Yaisha, you can battle flying monsters across floating islands on your first visit, and then enter a forest with killing lizards on the second. One run could see a musician asking for help, while another could have you undertake a mission for a Pen Express. As Gunfire Games CEO David Adams said, if you go in and you fight a mini-boss, and another player goes in and fights a mini-boss in an area, they might have completely different bosses. You might have different events, different random events occur in the game, and even the layouts of dungeons change. Enemies. The root is a major threat, and you'll encounter all kinds of creatures, from small ones to giant beasts with multiple arms and axe-wielding warriors. However, there are other enemies, like a hulking stone machine with numerous swords, flying enemies with spears, and ordinary grunts with torches that can swarm you. There are even mounted warriors, sentient machines, and anonymous robots with surprising agility. It's a big step up from the original in terms of variety. Combat. If you've played Remnant from the Ashes, Remnant 2's combat will look fairly similar. It's a third-person shooter, but with melee combat and a stamina bar. Every time you sprint and dodge roll, stamina is consumed. You can equip 2 guns and a melee weapon and use different armor sets, with higher weight classes leading to encumbrance depending on the archetype, rings, and weapon mods. If mods work as the first game, they can shoot alternate fire attacks, like shocking projectiles, and recharge by damaging enemies. Archetypes. Instead of classes like the first game, Remnant 2 uses a new archetype system. There are 4 archetypes, each with unique skills. The Challenger is a tanky mid-range fighter who can equip heavier armor without getting encumbered, and get back in the fight after taking fatal damage. The Handler gets a dog companion who can attack enemies, drag aggro, and even automatically revive you. I already know which one I'm going for. The Gunslinger. The Gunslinger is the prime damage dealer, who can reload all weapons using his skill and auto-target enemies to fire 6 shots. Finally, there's the Medic, who can create a well to heal enemies and even create shields around them that grants healing over time. Unlike mods, skills have cooldown timers. Each archetype has a prime perk, and by leveling it up, you can unlock other new perks that can buff your team, increase damage, and so on. Traits are associated with each archetype and leveled up alongside them, but you can only equip one. You get trait points to upgrade other traits, but they are limited, so you need to choose carefully. Dual Archetype. The biggest game changer is dual archetypes, which allow using traits and skills from a different archetype. For instance, if you are a Gunslinger, you can take a trait and skill from the Challenger for added toughness. You can only use one skill and one trait from the secondary archetype, which starts at level 1 regardless of the primary archetype. You can't equip prime perks from the secondary archetype, but overall, this system grants much more freedom when creating a character. You can also swap between unlocked skills or change to a completely different archetype out of combat. No more starting a new character to try a new class. Bosses. Remnant from the Ashes had some memorable boss fights, but the sequel is even more ambitious in scale and mechanics. The Mother Mind is one such example, attacking with its massive limbs and eventually destroying the platform that players stand on. After moving to a safer location, they must deal with exit projectiles, smaller enemies, and newer attacks. Other potential bosses have been teased, though we've yet to see them in action. Co-op. Remnant from the Ashes presented a good experience solo, and Remnant 2 looks no different. However, co-op is one of the highlights, as up to 3 players can venture into the various worlds together. The first game had a trait called Teamwork, which increased damage resistance if you were close to a teammate. Based on the gameplay showcased thus far, co-op looks to scale difficulty up like its predecessor. PC requirements. Remnant 2's PC requirements are a little hefty on the minimum end. You will need an Intel Core i5-7600 or AMD Ryzen 5 2600, 16GB RAM, and an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1650 or AMD Radeon RX 590. On the recommended side, a Core i5 10600K or AMD R5 3600, 16GB RAM, and RTX 2060 or Radeon RX 5700 is required. Regardless of your configuration, you need 80GB of installation space and Windows 10 at the very least. Early Access. Continuing a popular trend in today's game, purchasing the Ultimate Edition for $69.99 grants early access. You can play on July 22nd, 3 days before the worldwide release. Post-launch DLC. Also included with the Ultimate Edition is the DLC bundle, which has 3 post-launch DLC packs. They added new creatures and environments and were released within 1 year of the base game launch. By the way, let me know down in the comments how many times I said archetype during this video. That's it for today. If you're feeling kind, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to see more content like this, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.